is Madi. I'm the host of Respect My Region's Higher Women podcast, where we talk to influential women in cannabis and music. On today's show, we have the pleasure of speaking with Briahna Gatlin. She is the founder of Swank PR in Chicago, Illinois, and she's an experienced writer in the music industry. We're going to talk about her experience writing in hip hop and other genres of music, how PR has changed in the last 15 years, and what makes a great artist and more. So, Briahna, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm having a great day. How's the weather in Chicago?
Well, you guys are, I know you're in Florida, but I
Yep.
feel like everyone at Respect My Region has like everybody is in different places, but I think everyone has nice weather where you guys are
Yeah,
compared to ours.
it's
So
pretty
our
nice.
our weather sucks. That's okay.
Is it snowing? Is it bad?
Uh it hasn't. So what it's been doing is it's been doing these flurries and it like snows for like 5 minutes and then it stops, or there's some type of weird, rain, and then it'll stop. Now, last week we had a pretty big snow, but it wasn't like, I'm from here, so I've survived way worse when it comes to weather and snow. But I think about less than a month ago, we had a really bad snow, and it took like I went to shovel, and I definitely got my workout in.
Yeah, we don't even have to deal with that over here. It's just like
I know.
rain and humidity, honestly. But
Yeah.
could you introduce yourself for the people here
Sure.
at Respect My Region?
Yes, my name is Briahna Gatlin. I am a publicist that started about 15 years ago, and my company is called Swank PR. And I have worked with so many different amazing artists in my career. Not just artists. The main nucleus of my business is music, music PR. But I say entertainment PR because I've done movies, red carpets, TV premieres, movie premieres, sports. So I've worked in all these different genres of entertainment. But my start was in entertainment. I got a chance to work with a LeBron James before, and doing a huge event with him, and D Rose was there, and Jay-Z was there, and so I've done that. I've worked with people like Mos Def, worked with people including the Raekwons, Ghostface Killer. I've worked with people like Sway in the Morning, where I've done some, coordinated some live broadcasts in what was it, the New Balance store at the time. And I've worked with pretty much breaking a lot of artists in the Midwest as well as beyond, but specifically Chicago for the most part. So I've worked with the Chance the Rapper, Vic Mensa, G Herbo, even the older cats, artist GLC, who was signed to Kanye. Got a chance to do some work with him. Worked with Kanye before, done stuff with Twista as well. So Lupe Fiasco, I can't believe I'm forgetting him. I actually was his tour publicist for a while, and I also was his publicist for his nonprofit. So which was originally called the Lupe Fiasco Foundation, and then we switched over to Mural. And so I've worked in all these different settings. I also was on the board and did some PR with the legendary DJ who passed away from cancer, DJ Timbuktu. Worked with him and like just worked with him. Actually, we knew each other like literally since we started in the business. But also later on sat on his board for his foundation as well. So I've worked in several genres of entertainment. Like I said, right now I work with the Chicago Bulls, with Zenny Optical. I have a client, a client. The clients I work on over there include like Coco and Breezy, and they're also from the Midwest. They designed the Prince glasses that had the third eye.
Yeah.
So I work with them. I work with the Chicago Bulls. I work with the Downing Brothers, and they have like a HGTV show. So I'm working in
You're in there.
yes.
You're in there for
Yeah,
sure.
so I've been in there for a while now.
Wow, that's awesome. So, like working with people like Lupe Fiasco and Mos Def, like you've seen a lot of great artists. What have you noticed that makes a great artist?
I would say the team is what makes a great artist, because a lot of times people only get to see the artist. They only get to see they only really get to see the fun part, the stage, the the glitz and the glamour, as people say. I would say the team, because a lot of times the team, they're behind the scenes making those decisions. They're behind the scenes really helping brand that artist as well, where those artists may not even understand the creative concept of, what their brand is. And so the team, to me, is a successful team definitely warrants a successful artist.
For sure. And it even goes down to like the engineer as well. Because I used to work at a music studio, and like seeing how, in depth the engineer, is with the
Mhm.
music, it's like you really can't do it without him. Honestly,
Yeah,
like the knowledge all around to build like the brand and everything like that, it takes like an army for sure.
it really does. It really
Ha-
does.
have you seen it change? Like, has there been more and more people on the team over the last 15 years?
Um, I've definitely seen it because a lot of the newer artists have this DIY attitude. And that is a problem because the DIY attitude can only take you so far. And I think that has been a huge hurdle with the newer generation, because you got people like Soldier Boy who started this whole tech revolution with music, and it changed the whole climate of music. And it was really hard to wrap your brain around how to brand, an artist as a team digitally. And that became a whole different space. So the difference, I would say, is having the team that knows how to make the right moves for that particular artist. But I would definitely say the DIY has definitely affected that.
Yeah. And how has like the nature of PR changed from
Mm,
2007?
that's a great question. I would say for me, I've had to navigate and learning a lot of technology and learning how to use it to brand my clients. A lot of people don't use like back when I was starting out in that lane, a lot of people were like, "Oh no, I'm just gonna, keep using the same, news wire and press wire," and it's
Right.
like, that's not enough. You have to directly talk to people now. You have to directly touch these editors or these writers, and you have to know what they have going on. And the other thing I learned is, you know, reciprocity with a lot of the writers and the publication. So even that has changed. But tech wise, I had to learn how to brand my clients on social media. I had to learn how to make it make sense for them. And how do I do that? So I created my own channel to make sure no matter what, we're branding our clients and we're literally putting them on a platform that has a specific audience, and our specific audience is media no matter what. So I learned to use technology to further along brand the clients and really kind of open the just open the market up in a sense of to reaching out to the right people, meaning my job, what I learned about my job in that lane was that I had to make sure that I it benefited the client. So if one person seen the client getting press, then it would make them want to give that client press as well. And so that was my whole premise, is make sure that this is going to garner some type of press results.
For sure. And going up into this, you actually like founded your own company. What like led you to found Swank PR?
Well, I actually started my company out of a need. So I was looking for a job, and I was a grant writer. I had a 9 to 5, and I got laid off or fired. I can't remember. I think it was fired. But at the time, I was collecting unemployment. The job market, it took me 2 years to find a job, and I never found one. So I started Swank. So
Hell
um
yeah.
but outside of that portion, I was working with another magazine. I was working with a magazine that I helped start. I was one of the founders. And uh when I came on board, it was a newsletter. So I when I came on board, it was a newsletter. It did not have any type of magazine structure, any of that. So I literally had to really like figure out how I was gonna change it, because I'm like, kids aren't gonna, it was a teen magazine. I'm like, kids aren't gonna, they're not gonna open a newsletter. And so I came on board, started the magazine structure, and what ended up happening was they switched it over. and it became True Star Magazine. And pretty much what ended up happening was uh they pretty much, when they really got established, kind of wrote me out of everything. And
Hmm.
then Swank PR came.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot lately with like people getting into the media industry. It always takes that spark. It always takes that like kind of losing a job or like something like
Mhm.
that to really get us into here. But it's almost a blessing at the end of the day, right? That
Yeah.
adversity breeds like a whole business, a whole Swank PR that's been here for since 2007. That's awesome.
Yes. So this is our 15th year, and I can't believe I'm even saying 15, but it's been such a long, like I have so many memories. I don't remember everything. I was speaking with some kids actually yesterday, and a friend of mine told me, she was like, I remember she was like, I ran into you while you were interviewing T.I. And I was like, at the Heralds? She's like, yeah. She was like, you were on a tour bus, you were talking to him, we were doing a shoot at Heralds. I do remember that. So it was one of those things again where I'm like, wow, like how, you know what I mean? How did she remember that? And I have so many stories of people telling me when they met me or how, they seen me doing something, and it was just crazy. So I'm super grateful, um, to say the least.
Well, it's super cool to see you on top. What was one of the biggest challenges that you've faced, opening your business in?
Huh. I would say being a female,
Yeah.
number one. Number two, working in a male dominated industry. Because when I came, there was not a lot of women in management or working behind the scenes per se. That respect level is still really difficult, because even as a woman, you still have to earn the respect. So you gotta earn the respect. Two, you have to walk in and establish, hey, I am not the groupie girl. I am not the one that is taking, I'm not here for your enjoyment. I'm here to
Right.
work. And so I would say, for me, being a woman, learning the ropes, understanding how to work a room and not be looked at as a sexual object, was something that I wanted to kind of lay out when I first started. And I did, and I always had a group of people around me that, also kind of co-signed it, meaning guys who were supportive, who made sure that respect level was there. And so that really helped, having allies and having other men to help in that level. I would definitely say that was probably the initial first challenge. I would say the second one was just really being able to get the business, because again, it's still the boys club.
Right.
And with the boys club, they help their friends. They don't always help the woman, or they're not even considering us. So again, establishing that presence was super important in general, because even to this day, I'm still dealing with that, where I have to kind of make myself a point to be in the forefront, simply because if I know I can do that job, I want to make sure. And if I really want to work with that person or that business or that partnership, I want to make sure that I'm in the top two candidates, as far as getting that business, because that at the end of the day, that is going to, they may just forget about me if I'm not necessarily kind of engaged. So for me, my biggest thing is continuing to be engaged. And it's work to continue to be engaged. Very much.
And and I think it's great like what you're doing because if you don't see a lot of women and you're like being the woman to step up and like be in that space and get in there, like you're setting an example for like other people, when they come up, they can people can remember, I saw Brianna and she came in here and she really knew what she was doing. Like we need to trust more women, in these spaces. I think that that really like helps people out. Was there anybody that inspired you to go into the music industry or be in this field?
So I started out as a journalist, and a lot of people, that research me or look me up. I started as a journalist, started working. I was a writer. I was a writer for 10 years before I even went to PR. What made me get into this angle, specifically PR, was that journalism was drying up.
Hmm.
And I was around when magazines were the ish, and they were the shit. And I was around then, but then the digital and the internet hit. And I remember my last check from the source bouncing, and I was like, what am I going to do? And so, as far as on the music side, I knew a long time ago I wanted to work in the music business. I really realized it in college, and what I realized was that I was really good at it. I was passionate about it, and that I had a knack for just being a great executor. So and then I was passionate about the music, and I feel like it was great to. I liked being a part of the journey of watching someone start somewhere like a Kanye. When I met Kanye, he was still like producing and he wasn't technically an artist yet. And I got an opportunity to actually interview Kanye while he was just a producer, when he just had Benny Siegel and all these different people that he was just producing. And I had did a paper in college about underground hip hop versus commercial hip hop, and he let me interview him.
That's awesome.
And it was an amazing experience, but he talked my ear off.
I bet. He has a lot of things to say.
He does, and he's always been that way. So, even in those moments, that's when I knew I wanted to do this.
That's really cool. And now you've worked like big festivals as well. I saw you did the SXSW festival. How was that?
Wait, South by Southwest. That's what we
Yes,
call it.
yes.
Yes, I've worked South by Southwest for years. South by Southwest is interesting and fun. I call it a rites of passage for artists.
Hmm.
It's a great rites of passage. You walk around all day, you're doing these amazing shows, but everyone's walking. So you'll be walking and literally see a celebrity walking too. Um,
Yeah.
because they have to go from one venue to the other venue, and they're right down the street. So the way that they do it is they close the street down, and you can't drive like into the venue and park and walk in with your security. So that was the South by Southwest festival that I came from. The new one is a little bit more sexier. But
Mm.
the last South by Southwest I worked was actually the one right before the pandemic.
Oh wow.
And South by Southwest was in March. The last show I did was with Valet. He was the headliner.
Okay.
So I did that, and then that following year, yeah, the pandemic happened. So
Damn.
yeah, and it was definitely an interesting time. I was like, well, what are we all gonna do? But that particular festival has definitely is also an inspiring experience, because that last one, I met Megan Thee Stallion, I met the baby. That was literally right before all of them blew up. And so South
Wow.
is one of those places you go to see who's gonna be next. And that is probably the biggest um identifier of how the industry identifies who's next. You know what I'm saying? In their
Yeah.
in their lane. So it's always like a great time to go. I love it. Yeah.
I'm so excited. You said Megan Thee Stallion. I'm gonna go see her at Okeechobee. Have you gone to any of the Florida festivals?
I have not. I
Oh,
have
you
not.
totally have to come down. We got a
Okay.
lot of good stuff going on.
I mean, if it's hot, that's already a selling point for me.
Yeah,
So
I'm super excited. Okeechobee. This is gonna be my first time going to Okeechobee, but we
Mhm.
have Ultra and like EDC Orlando, and we have just like a bunch. I just wrote an article on like a bunch of ones in Florida actually, but yeah, you should definitely come on down. It's a good time. I promise.
If listen, send me the info and I'll definitely try and pick one. Like, of course, everybody goes to Rolling Loud in Miami,
Yeah,
but I would love to hit some of the other off-site ones that I feel like really have like real talent. Um,
yeah,
so please, like, send them to me. I'm down to definitely explore.
of course. And what would you say is like your favorite festival that you've been to?
Oh,
Is it
jeez.
tough? There's probably a lot. You've probably been to a lot.
I have never been to Coachella,
Neither have I. That's also a
and I
bucket list
haven't
for
actually
me.
been to Rolling Loud either.
Neither have I. And I'm from here, so it's okay.
That's yeah, but no, you should have been a Rolling Loud at least
I
once.
know, but like literally since I've gotten this job, like it's been super cool. like we're allowed to go to different festivals. We apply for press passes and stuff. So I've been like working at different festivals, but that's definitely on
Yeah.
my list. That's definitely on my list. I'm going to
Well,
Ultra,
I'm
and
gonna have to say Lollapalooza then for
yeah.
me. Best festival I've been to.
What makes it the best festival?
Well, it's in Chicago, so I don't have to do anything. I don't have to
True, true.
travel. It's so easy. I know the rules. I know how it goes. Um, but Lala gives you the most diverse layout of artists in music overall. Like I've also discovered a lot of artists at Lollapalooza that
Mm,
I'd never heard, and I was like, oh my god, I'm about to go, stream, listen, whatever. So for me, like I love the fact that Lollapalooza's here. You can't go wrong with the food. You can't go wrong with the with the weather at the time. I love hot. I see Hannah's commenting. I
yeah.
love hot weather because I rarely get it. But I love the only thing I would say is Lollapalooza it can get muddy if it rains.
Mm,
But I'm usually in VIP or backstage. So I
true.
usually don't have that problem. There's food backstage. You don't have to pay for anything backstage.
Right.
So it's like being in the best festival for me because I mean the energy is great. I'm at home. I know I'm going home to lay in my bed after a nice long night of partying. And the other cool part is the events are so dope here. Like there's always something like different like every year, and a few things. People do all these crazy activations like Lala, like South by Southwest used to be way more underground, and it was like literally about the artists, starving artists that are coming down there to grind and do all these shows. Lala has been pretty consistent. South by Southwest got commercialized a lot.
Mm,
So I would always say Lala simply because Lala has not strayed away from their brand. They've
their
always
roots.
had, yeah, they've always whatever they start how they started is how they have been for the longest. And that's why people don't realize when you do Lala, you've arrived. South by Southwest is one thing, but when you do Lala, you've arrived already. And it's a great platform to say you performed on.
That's dope. I have to go there too. And I saw you lived in New York as well. Did you ever attend the Governor's Ball?
I have not been to the Governor's Ball.
I
When I
want to
was
go there
living
so
in New
bad.
York, they didn't have the Governor's Ball. So I'm actually in the midst of, I just started going back and forth as far as again, post pandemic.
Gotcha.
So I'll be at a Governor's Ball this year. And I hear the Governor's Ball is really nice too. Um, but
It's got
I
a lot
am,
of big names, that's for sure.
yeah, now that I'm older, I don't know how I'm gonna digest and process being in a crowd. Even though I'm
Mm.
okay, like I'm not gonna freak out, but I'm one of those like I've gotten spoiled, so I want to be backstage.
I feel you. I feel you. Me and Hannah, she actually works at RMR too. We got a taste of backstage when we were at Halloween. It was awesome. It was an incredible experience. And like lately, I've never gotten to go VIP other than being attached to RMR. But honestly, like VIP is where it's at. Like there
It
is,
is.
it's crazy like how much different, more of
It's
an
night and day.
experience you can have
It's
too.
night and day.
It's literally is like that, especially if you go to a camping concert too. Like,
Huh?
luckily we got to use like the VIP's bathrooms because they have like actual, what I mean, set up ones. But like, there's the porta potties for everybody else, and that is hard. Let me tell you, it is. You have to be ready to do 4 days of porta potties and
Oh
only porta
God,
potties. You know what I mean? Because, well, have you ever done like a camping concert, or do you like do
no, on
glamping?
purpose. I have not.
Yeah, it's fun because I like camping in general. Like camping and then music, I'm like, let's do it.
A lot of black
But
people on camp, Maddie.
but there's also glamping too. They have like I
I heard
for this
about glamping.
yes.
I am interested in glamping.
They have these like I don't even know what they're called. They're like spark pods or something pods where they literally have like a tent set up and there's a bed and there's like all this stuff that they give you. I'm telling you, like there's they
My cousin just did a glamping trip,
yeah.
but they said it was storming like crazy.
Mm, yeah, that can really put a damper on your glam
Yes,
for
a
sure.
damp on the glamp for
Damp on the
sure.
glam. Damn. But so how has like living in Chicago versus like New York molded you in your career?
So this is the thing I explained my relationship with Chicago and New York. So New York is where I really learned like the hustle part, the really like I'm hungry to win and really, break into this business because I learned my hustle and my work ethic from New York because that's where I started. So I interned at Vibe when I was in college. That was like my first real taste of the music business, and I also did a couple different things out there, and then when I graduated I went and moved out there. So my initial work ethic comes directly from New York. Being from Chicago, I think the best part about that is I still have the Chicago attitude that we all have. Like, we're not a huge celebrity city, right? Meaning celebrities are everywhere, but nobody gives a fuck.
They're just like everybody else over there.
Well, everyone in Chicago thinks they're celebrities. So
I I know a couple people from Chicago, and they just seem like they can take on anything. Honestly, like Chicago seems to have like really just beefed them up. Like I've heard some shit from
it's
Chicago.
one of those things you're like literally I think one day we were in Wicker Park and Lady Gaga was sitting out on one of the patios of the restaurant eating, and someone was like, "Oh, there's Lady Gaga." I was like, "Okay." But that's literally like, if anything, we may walk past and take a picture like very low key. Yeah, but we're not like, "Oh my god." Like,
Like swarming them and like
no,
because
we
I've
don't
seen
do
some
that.
people like swarming celebrities lately, like on their cars, like not letting them leave. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
We're
want to be
not like
there.
that. So I think that helped me in New York because I was such a calm person, and I would be like, "Okay, that's, Busta Rhymes.
Right.
Ooh, that's Alicia Keys. Okay, cool." But that would be like in my head, I'm always like, "Well, I don't work for him, so I'm not excited." Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Till I see them,
yeah,
like, and I interview them, then I'll be like getting all
yeah.
nervous.
It's
And
for me. It's more about like, I think I feel like everybody in the industry, you have to have some little bit of self gratification in those situations where you're like, hey, that's at least what keeps me from probably being starstruck. I would say. I mean, the only person that I've like sort of got starstruck what with was Jay-Z.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's huge, billions. Like, and he's been out here like as an influencer in hip hop for like
years,
years.
forever.
Yeah,
I
seems
don't know
like
how
forever.
old you are, Maddie,
I'm
but
I'm 22 actually. I
oh,
almost forgot. I
oh,
almost said
he's
21.
he's literally been an influencer as long as you've been alive,
Yeah,
almost.
it was cool. I got to see him in concert, actually with
Mhm.
Beyonce for free one time because my friend was like, "Hey, you
Oh,
want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll skip class to go see Jay Z and
oh,
Beyonce." Yeah,
that's good class worthy.
yeah, for sure. I'll skip class honestly for any concert. I'm not in school anymore, but you could definitely find me skipping a few classes for a good time, for sure. Well, so have you? So you went to South by Southwest. Like, who should we be looking out for now? I mean, that was like pre-pandemic, but
Oh, I don't even know. I'm scared to even name people because I'm not like I'm not gonna lie. I'm always focused on my clients. I literally need to think about that. There's gonna be so many art there. I'll tell you this. The reason why I can't say that is because I literally have not been listening to a lot of new music.
mm,
Um, there's a couple
feel
new
that.
artists I've been listening to, but I just recently discovered that I think there's a statistic that they say over 60,000 songs come out every either every day or every week. New music.
Yeah.
Then when you look on Spotify and they do their numbers, they say that there's 90% of people are listening to catalog music.
What's catalog music?
Catalog music is old music or like music from, before DSP or like
Mm,
music that's like old school music or
I
like a
got you.
Dr. Dre or Snoop. Like, that's catalog music compared to all the new music that's dropping. Now, if I had my, I mean, he's already on, but Lil Baby is probably my favorite right now, and of course Dirk. Um, Anybody else from Chicago specifically? If I'm look, I would say, um, off the top of my head, like I have one client. He's really dope. His name is Shoebox Benny. And I also have another client, Huey V, who's from Milwaukee, that's really doing good. So they're both going down there to perform, and I really do want to see them. So if I had to say anyone right now, I would definitely say my two clients that are performing are like really on the radar, and I'm super excited for them. It's another kid that I know. His name is Pronto Spaz. I think he's gonna be down there. He's from Chicago. I'm just thinking of people that I know the music I've heard. There's another group that I'm pretty sure they're gonna be down there. Their name is DCG. They're
Okay, I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be down there performing as well. So there's a couple different artists that I know that will be down there performing that have moderately good, followings. Maybe not the best following as far as numbers, but they do have really good followings. Um, yeah.
And how can like smaller artists get on the map? Like, what would be your 3 tips to get on the map?
Well, one first tip is definitely get to South by Southwest. Simply because that is like breeding ground. You meet people there that end up being, huge later. So I would say networking. But so I would put it in this order. Definitely make sure you go to South by Southwest as an artist, to network, and there's opportunities to perform that just come up. Two, networking is the number one thing I think artists don't do. And your network is going to help create those opportunities for you to become that artist that you really, really are trying to be. And if you don't have people supporting you, or you don't have a network, then it's not going to expand your brand. And then I would say three, um, have your shit together, meaning, understand the business. Understand what publishing is, understand what a percentage of a manager is, or understand what you need in order to really make money as an artist, and make sure you get in a corporation and you're not just roaming out here. Own your name. So I would say ownership is the third thing I would put on that list.
Gotcha. That's super cool. And also, Hannah wrote an article too to give some tips to make some money, for artists that's outside of streaming as well. So you guys should check that out. What was your first introduction to hip hop?
Ooh, so you just made me think of a really good story.
I love
So
stories.
my first memorable introduction was, I was at home, and this of course when I was a kid. Cause like, okay, so of course we listen to rap at family reunions, and I heard it and it was cool, whatever. But also Chicago is known for house music. I don't know if you know that. We
Mm,
started house music. This is the
okay.
house music. So when I was younger, house music was huge here. And it actually, obviously, house music is the evolution of EDM, but people,
Yeah.
I don't know if people know that. So growing up, I heard a lot of house, and I heard rap, but house was like the main thing. So one day I'm sitting in, no, we were at home. My brother had just got a stereo, or I got a stereo, but he had a tape with NWA.
Mm,
And
fire.
my first, literally my first introduction that I would count is Straight Outta Compton.
Mm,
Their
that's
first
so.
the first project. So, you know, it's interesting because I don't know how old I was when it came out. All I know is my brother was we were on the back porch where our parents weren't at. And he's rapping and cursing, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're cursing." And I was like, "I can't believe you're listening to that." And then I was like, "But it sounds good." And then after that I would go back there with him and listen to it.
It's
But
infectious, you know what I mean? The energy of like hip hop is just like
absolutely. And I would say that was my first introduction because that was the first time I was in a setting where someone else showed me the music and put me onto the music and loved the music, and it was just great. So I love the fact that NWA was my first, I mean, it says a lot about my approaching things as far as going forward, but as far as how, it's just how controversial they were. And
Yeah.
but it was crazy. I just had never heard anything like that. Like I said, I had heard rap, I had listened to rap. Most of the rap that was out before them was party rap. You didn't
Mm,
hear about people talking about police, and you didn't, it
right.
was just so raw, you know,
Right.
that I was like, it was shock value. But up until then, everything was party, which it's not that I didn't like it.
Right.
I would say that was the first time it affected me in a way that made me want to be a part of it and want to keep listening to it. And also like discover, the new artists that were out at that time. So yeah.
For sure. I don't even remember. Like, I wish I remembered my first introduction to hip hop. But I don't know. I really got into Chance the Rapper when I was younger. That was my first concert.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it was acid rap, and
Yep.
my friends like kidnapped me. They didn't tell me where we were going. It was really funny. Like, we're on our way, and they were playing Chance the Rapper songs. So I was like, "Are we gonna go see a Chance the Rapper song like concert?" And they were like, "No, no, we're going to the zoo." And for some reason, I was so excited to go to the zoo. And then they had to
Because of
retell me. They're like,
that,
"No, actually, we're going to Chance the Rapper." It's like, oh, super excited, but
that's awesome. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, but it was
Um,
awesome, and that I've been hooked on concerts ever since. I love just the feeling. I always get in the front every time I go to a concert. I'm like, who cares about my ears? You know what I mean? I'll be old and, deaf. It's whatever. But
hey man, I feel the same way.
yeah, but I heard they have like new technology in like concert speakers. Xander Armar was talking about it. He said that you can stand like right in front of some new speakers and be able to have a conversation, and it like won't. You'll still be able to like hear and stuff like that. It's crazy. I don't know what they're coming out with, but speaker technology has like been in the background, just going up and up and up.
It really has. It really has. So yeah.
What would you say like is your favorite artist today? Like, what's your favorite genre of music that you like to listen to?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I love hip hop, I love rap, but because I work around it, my ears always need a break.
For
Right
sure.
now, I would say right now I listen to Maddie, I've been listening to old music for like the last few months. Like, I mean, right, I would say R&B. Like
Yeah.
old R&B, new R&B. Like it's so easy on my ears, and
Yeah.
it it literally enables me to kind of get my ears relaxed and then go back in and like, okay. But
Yeah.
right now, that's kind of where I'm at. And I also like I do a lot of meditation music too.
Mm.
So again, like anything that's gonna kind of relax me in that form is sort of what I use, because it really has a different effect on me even when I'm working. So like I would say those are the two that I listen to the most.
Yeah, for me, lately it's been like a mix of like EDM rap, which
Mm.
is like just like hyper rap. I don't even know if there's like a genre for it, but I've just been like super into it. I put it in my playlist called 84K. It's like ADHD except like way more. And then I know what you mean by like giving your ears a rest, because it is very like intense, and like sometimes it's like my dancing music.
Mhm.
But I do need a rest sometimes, and I listen to a lot of indie. I love like
Yeah.
chill like indie music. I don't know. And then there's like indie,
Instrumentals
like
are
hyper
really
indie
nice too.
too. Huh?
Like chill instrumentals are really nice too, because they're long, they
Yeah.
go longer. You don't have to like rap, the songs are 2 minutes.
Yeah. I
And
like
you
classical too. I like it all, honestly. I don't even listen to country like on my Spotify, but I'll go to a country concert because
really,
they're fun. Yes, for sure. I went to
I haven't done that
Tortuga.
yet.
Oh yeah, Tortuga. I went to Tortuga. They're like in April. It's in Florida, but it's on the beach. It's a beach concert first of all,
Oh, that sounds
and
nice.
Snoop Dogg was there. It was
What?
like it was amazing. They have like this little Malibu beach house, or they did last time I went, where it's like you know how they have like little pop ups, like different alcohol beverage kind
Yeah,
of like houses or things like that.
yeah.
Malibu beach house, super cool. Just like the whole venue's like on a beach. There's like nice places to sit too. It's just
Mhm.
like a vibe and a half for
Sounds
real.
that does sound like a vibe. That is a vibe. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Beach, yeah, and then like with the
Now,
country, I didn't even know what was going on, like with the music, you know. But when it was playing, everybody was just kind of like I don't know. I would even say like the Damian Marley. Like I've seen Damian Marley live, and it was just like
oh,
I
he's
don't know,
amazing.
for real. I was like
Amazing.
starstruck by like the vibes that I saw. They had everybody had like the flags out, and everybody was just vibing together. Oh, that was a long time ago. But I didn't even go there for Damian Marley. It was a Sunfest. He was just infectious though.
He's
I love
amazing.
concerts.
He's amazing when it comes to performing. I've seen him
Yeah.
perform at least twice. He's really good.
Have you ever seen Frank Ocean in concert? He's my favorite, one of my favorite artists of all time.
I've never seen Frank. Wait, have I? I don't remember seeing him in concert. He doesn't do a
Mm.
lot of concerts, you know.
Nah, he's very much like out of the public eye, which sucks
He's
because
not a good live performer to me.
yeah.
No.
It's one of those things, you know what I mean? It's always
I've
like a
heard
hit or a
so many,
miss.
like, yeah, he's a hit or miss. And I'm not gonna put my money on that.
Yeah. My one of my biggest obsessions, and I think I'm like the only one that's like saying it, but I think like have you heard of Big Baby Gucci?
I have.
I really think he's next. I'm like the only one,
Really?
but like I really do think he's next.
Hmm.
He just has this sound that I don't know if it's just me, could be my brain, but it really just like gets it in that state of like, you know what I mean? I don't even know. I feel like I'm a part of the song when I listen to it, and it's
That's
just
a good
like,
thing.
yeah, he produces
I
it
haven't
himself
really heard
too.
his music. I just heard the name.
I'll have to send you some
Seen the
songs.
name. Send them
Yeah,
because I'm interested. Like, and I am one of those people. Like, I like either like I love ratchet music too. Like, I like it all. Like, even on the rap end, ratchet. Like, honestly, I'm about to probably shock you. Emo music doesn't do it for me.
really.
Oh God, it's
I have
depressing.
I just have a friend in the like a band in it, but like other than that, I'd really like interact with that genre either.
It's depressing. It's sad, and I'm not listening to music for that.
I think it just has to like I think too it's about where you are in life too cuz like you know when it's like your relaxed ears time versus rap ears time, I feel like it has to do with
Yeah,
that too. And if you're like cuz you're going to listen to music that's going to make you, you know what I mean, connect and stuff like that. So
yeah.
if you're like a happy person and you're like up and I'm like ready to go out the door, no time for drama, then I can definitely see how you know what I mean, emo music might not be your thing cuz it's like, you know, it's definitely more in that like heart-wrenching, you know what I mean, side of things.
Yeah, it's nervous.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah. I think it's definitely yeah, it's a very vulnerable music genre.
Mm.
I think R&B can be too, but R&B is almost like a when I think of R&B, I think of like a sexier tone, you know what I mean?
R&B is sexier. R&B also like has a fight back, you know? I don't think emo has a fight back. Emo like R&B will have you in your feelings just like emo, but there's always a like an ending to say, hey, this is the conclusion. I may never be in love with you anymore, or I might go do something, you know, to make myself feel better. Either way, it's like R&B is more to me of a story.
Mm,
And it has some type of uh action attached to it where it makes you either go stand up for yourself, or even if it makes you do something crazy, meaning like I don't know, what does Jasmine Sullivan say? You know, I smashed the windows out your car.
oh yeah, I
I'm
smashed
just
the
saying that.
windows out your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I think R&B has a little bit more of an outlet. I think emo just talks about it. The scary part about emo is that it can cause, you know, people to get, you know, life-changing things, do
Mm,
life-changing things. So I think the difference is like R&B and rap is like R&B has a little bit of rebel in it.
yeah.
Emo has like some life shit happening. Like like it can, you can go into a dark hole. R&B doesn't take you that deep.
Yeah.
Rap is like fuck the police, we might shoot you and kill you, or not that that's better.
Yeah. It's like when it's saying out loud, it's like, but like at the same
No,
time, it's like when you're listening to it and you're into it, I don't know. There's like a vibe.
it
There's
can hype you up to like
yeah.
the gym, like if you're going to the gym, or it's more of a upper, I would say.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
probably a better way to say it.
For sure. And so you've interviewed like a bunch of people. Who has been your favorite interviewees?
Oh, who has been my favorite person? I can't think of nobody but Ti.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it the
Ti.
energy? What was it?
Ti has always, well, Nas was good too, but Ti was like, his energy is just, put it like this: what you see online is exactly what you get. Like, he's very consistent. He's never changed. He's very articulate. He's always been like that. And that's what I think surprised me, because I interviewed him a long time ago.
Mm.
And it surprised me how he was just so articulate, and how he, pronounced specific words, because he was from the South as well. You know, it was, who else was good? I'm glad I brought this up. E40. Oh my God.
Yeah.
E40 was so much fun. So I have to tell this story. So
Go
when I
ahead.
interviewed E40, I met him. I had to meet him at the hotel, and we did the interview in the hotel lobby. I meet him. He has a jug of Carlos Rossi. That's what
Never
he
heard of it.
drinks. That was his drink back then.
I've
Um,
never heard of that.
what? Look, he raps about. He says sipping on Rossi all the time.
Hmm. I've never
Yes,
had it. I'm gonna have to try it.
listen, it's this old wine. It's in a huge jug. It's cheap and it's good.
I'll have to
Yes,
try it for sure then.
but he was so much fun, and we sat there and we were drinking the Rossi, and it was so funny because that's what my aunt used to drink.
So you felt right at home then.
I felt so comfortable. But he was talking, and he was translating all the words he was saying. And I think at that time he was coming out with a book that had the translation of, how he says things.
Mm.
So he was so much fun. Like, we ended up having a good conversation. E40 was one of my favorite. He was, I mean, he left a very good impression on me too.
That's dope. And so like how so did you get those interviews from working at like the Source and XXL?
Yes. So when I worked at different, when I was a freelancer, a lot of the label reps would call me and say, "Hey, we have so and so in town. Do you want to interview them?" And I would pitch it to my editor, and then after I would pitch it to my editor, they would, say yes or no, or, hey, go ahead and do the interview. And that pretty much is how it went. And so I could pick and choose who I wanted to interview, but also, like, actually, I had somebody ask me last yesterday when I did my interview with, when I talked to the kid, they said who was my worst interview. Buster
Mm.
Rhymes.
Really? So he's got to be one, you know what I mean?
He was like 2 hours late. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't care, and he did, and then it was a group of us waiting. He was 2 hours late. Didn't like they didn't they had some of us, they were like, well, some of y'all can come back tomorrow. I'm not coming back after waiting 2 hours. I'm
Yeah.
good. And you gotta think, I told you how we are in Chicago. So we were like, "Psh, we don't you don't do that to us. You don't
Right.
do that to anybody here." So it was very funny. But yeah, he was the worst, and I would say E40 and Ti was my favorite.
That's so. What would you say to like women that want to be in the music industry? Like, what would you warn them about, or what would you encourage them with?
I would encourage them to definitely make sure they have their purpose lined up. Like, you cannot walk in the industry like not knowing anything about what you want to do. um you have to have some level of, hey, this is the industry I want to be in, this is the group of people I want to be, mentoring, or I want to gravitate to. You have to know your boundaries as far as working with people and working with men. A lot of times we get paid less. or they'll try to pay you less. And so as a woman, you have to be able again to demand your respect. And so respect is a huge factor. Um, if you don't have that, you're not gonna get in win in this industry in general. Like, and I think that's in any field, to be honest. My field really is PR, and the PR is super competitive. So there's a lot of women in PR, but you have to still stand out and you still have to earn your respect. So I would say respect is, I would say, the main thing in establishing your reputation, you know, in whatever field you're in, you're gonna have to earn that level of respect. And it's the same way um music wise. It just, you gotta deal with the misogynistic aspect, and you have to have boundaries, and you have to lay those boundaries down from the beginning. If you do not, you will have an issue.
Did you have like your parents' support in your career, like growing up?
I did. My mom, actually, the reason I went to study journalism at Oxford is my mom. Um I went to a private school based here in Chicago called Providence St. Mel, and I got chose to go study journalism at Oxford University in high school. And that was the beginning, like, and my mom was like fully on board with everything, like, and even when matter of fact, I will say my mom is my biggest supporter. My mom works for
Mm,
me, and my mom
that's
actually
awesome.
gave me the money to incorporate my company.
I love that.
Yeah.
Creating like generational wealth and being a part of it. That's like
Yeah,
such a
it's
goal.
super important. It was amazing. And I actually come from a family of entrepreneurs. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. So you're able to like, you know what I mean, totally have the support. Be like, yes, you can totally do your own business.
It's
We've
been
done it.
yeah, it's been super supportive. My great grandmother was actually the first licensed Black beautician in Mississippi, and she
Wow.
had her own salon the whole entire time. And my grandmother is 86, and this was at least 86 years ago. And
Wow.
we know the country was not the same, but
Yeah.
um, so yes, so I have full support because I come from an entrepreneurial family.
So that's so dope. And
It is.
how can people really like support black businesses in Black History Month and beyond?
I would say don't just support for Black History Month.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and beyond for sure.
That, but I would say really, like, I think there's still conversations around that. I think for me, I would say as a business owner, like, one, of course, patronizing me and giving me business, but I would say for me, like, the most part has been like resources and like anything, like, I didn't know anything about the financial aspect of having a business. So I would say for me it's been those resources and having those cheerleaders. And one of the main things I would say is also recommending people like that goes a long way,
For sure.
because we're the way that our entrepreneurs work is we get our business through recommendations and referrals. So the main thing, like, even for me, like, when anybody refers my business, I give them like 15% of that first retainer. You know why? Because I want them to know that their work didn't just go in vain. And it's a thank you. So for
Right.
me, like, it goes a long way. So I would say that recommendation aspect is always great. The just being there to support. I think sometimes people, think you have to do more than that. Like, sometimes it's just about showing up
For sure.
for that person.
Yeah.
Um and for me that goes a long way. I would say, so I would say always, referrals and showing up and being supportive. And hey, if there's opportunity to volunteer, or you say, hey, let me know if you need anything, then that. But I would say the support part is to me the most important part.
For sure. Well, I really appreciate your time and thank you so much for coming. Is there anything you want to shout out before we pop off?
Well, we didn't talk about cannabis, but
Oh
I know
yeah.
my region um
Yes.
is a very huge advocate. So no, I love what Respect My Region does. I met Joey at South by Southwest. That was the last one I went to.
Oh
Yep.
well. I
That's
love
how
it.
I
Small
know.
world.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I met Joey, and we had this very long conversation. and we talked about the fusion between music and cannabis, and we just talked about the cannabis industry a lot, and we talked about just how important it is, like the relationship between the two, and
Hmm.
yeah, and we had such a good conversation. So that's how I'm familiar with you guys, because of cannabis.
That's so dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I got with him through my friend. She had started working there. I had lost my job, like many of us do, and then started working for here and just fell in love with it. And I had been smoking before, but now I feel like I know cannabis a lot more deeply, and
Oh
just
my gosh,
the
yeah.
world just keeps growing. You know what I mean? The more you get into music and cannabis, the more you like really learn about the interworkings and just the history and really all that goes into it. The people are needed that make the industry happen.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
it's really
lot.
cool.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot, but it's also so intertwined. And I think that they've helped each other in so many ways. Music and cannabis has been a great marriage. So like, um, that's definitely been a part of my culture as far as me working. I've met so many people in the music business because of cannabis. Just sitting there sharing a joint.
Yeah, it's really is the culture of cannabis that like keeps it going and keeping us all like I feel like there's no real gatekeeping when it comes to like the cannabis industry too. Like I've met a lot of
No.
people that are just like whatever you want to know, like I'll let you in
Yeah.
and just open arms for real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I definitely eventually want to kind of tap into. I'll definitely, and me and Joy have talked about this. He's like, no, you need to be in PR in this field. And I'm like, listen, I'm down. Like, I'm a huge advocate. Like, whatever needs to happen, I'm ready.
I love
So
that.
we gotta go back to that conversation, because now I'm really ready. It just gets busy because I'm an entrepreneur. But I would say like that's been definitely one of the best connectors when it comes to my business and what I'm doing. So yeah.
Well, beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been really awesome talking to you. I was really excited about talking to you. So, thank you
Yeah,
so much for spending your time with me today.
of course.
Awesome.
I'll share this, I guess. I know it's live. I know it. Let me know how I can share it and promote it and whatever we need.
I shall. And then that's our stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching.